We want to welcome him to the program. He is the co-founder of Go Sleeves, Darren Lancaster. Darren, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you so much once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. So before we talk about kinesiology and how the idea for Go Sleeves come about, what's your educational and athletic background like?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, my educational background is in the realm of computer engineering, and I know that sounds super off base from a kinesiology sleeve product, but you know, my background in computer engineering kind of led me towards developing products. You know, what does it take to develop products? You know, initially in kind of a software land, and then moving into a lot of other spaces, and becoming essentially a serial entrepreneur, and at the same time also creating a marketing agency that helps other brands do what we're doing, in fact, with Go Sleeves. So kind of an interesting route to getting to where I'm at. And from an athletic perspective, I grew up on the slopes of Lake Tahoe, racing, skiing, playing soccer, being on trails in the summer, and it's evolved to where my primary sports right now are ice hockey, basketball with my co-founding partner, Roy Carrillo, and as much as possible being out on trails and enjoying hot yoga, those kinds of things, just trying to stay fit, trying to stay active as as I get older.
That's awesome to hear. You definitely have an eclectic background, computer engineering. We're going to get more into that a little bit later. I want to talk about the study of kinesiology. Can you explain to the listeners what kinesiology is and what fascinated you about this field of study?
Yeah, it is pretty diverse, and it's a mouthful too, right? Kinesiology. But it really is, at its core, it's a study or of the science of movement and muscle function. And there, you know, if you Google kinesiology degrees, you can see that, believe it or not, there are people whose careers are dedicated to the study of kinesiology in many different domains. But really what's specific to our product is the kinesiology tape direction. And so if folks are maybe familiar with seeing athletes in the Olympics, I think in particular when beach volleyball exploded on the scene in the LA Olympics, and you're seeing Kerry Walsh and other folks being taped up primarily as an injury recovery mechanism or a way to prevent injury. Perhaps people have had experience with kinesiology tape themselves. What it does is it's a therapeutic tape that you're applying to the body, and it helps provide support, helps lessen pain, reduce swelling, improve performance, and most people are familiar with that in more of an injury recovery paradigm. And what intrigued us is Roy and I, based on our own personal breakdowns of playing basketball, playing hockey, the different sports we're involved with, was, is there a way to leverage and bring the benefits of kinesiology tape into a more useful form factor? And that literally led to prototyping in the garage, sleeves that incorporated kinesiology technology.
Wow, that's very broad right there. I want to stay just with kinesiology for a moment. You mentioned about your extensive background in computer engineering. Do you ever use your computer engineering expertise in kinesiology in order for you and Roy to come up with the idea for Go Sleeves?
Yeah, great question. I think yes, in terms of as a computer engineer, we're always trying to take a logical progression of problem solving, gathering data, and improving. It's a constant improvement type of paradigm, and it's an experimental process frequently when it comes to inventing things, which computer engineering tends to be about. So as a startup company that has evolved many times over, and products that are all about incremental learning and improvement and data gathering, there's a lot of parallels there, absolutely. And leveraging kinesiology and learning from experts, learning from people in the medical field, people in the performance training field, professional athletes themselves. That's where the data comes from. That's where the learning comes from. And so we're very fortunate to have a really diverse network of people who are smarter than us to help us dial in our solutions.
All right, now let's get to Go Sleeves. How did the idea for Go Sleeves come about?
Yeah, like I was saying, it has to do with our own personal breakdowns. And Roy, in particular, my partner and the inventor of Go Sleeves, he played basketball in the Philippines for college and a little bit of pro ball in the Philippines. And we've been playing basketball together for over 15 years. And he really experienced all types of breakdowns in his body that he has tried everything from painkillers like naproxen to every kind of compression sleeve that you can imagine, and kinesiology tape itself. And we were just looking for a more approachable, reusable, and powerful solution than compression and the limitations of compression, or kinesiology tape and the limitations of kinesiology tape. And unfortunately, though kinesiology tape has some really great benefits, the challenge is you just generally don't know how to put kinesiology tape on unless someone shows you, maybe an expert, an athletic trainer or a performance trainer, and then it doesn't necessarily stay on for very long, and it's quite expensive and not reusable, so not a great solution for the planet. So building the benefits into a sleeve that you just pull on, the kinesiology design in the sleeves targets the muscles, ligaments, and tendons that a trainer would generally tape you up for. Go about your business, train in them, be athletic, take them off, shower, recover in them, and then reuse the sleeves, wash and wear. So it's a much better solution, I think, from an economic and a planet perspective.
I want to stay with Go Sleeves for a moment. What are the benefits with this product?
Yeah, it's very personal. So I'm going to lay out a little bit of the landscape of the products we have. We have a knee sleeve, targets the muscles and ligaments and tendons in and around the knee. We have an elbow sleeve, and then we have a calf sleeve. The calf sleeve has a taping design that targets your Achilles, your calf muscle, and your shin splint. And so one use case is I have tendonitis in my knee and my elbow, maybe bone on bone, maybe osteoarthritis. I have pain. And in that kind of a scenario, when you pull on an elbow sleeve or a knee sleeve and you're actually experiencing pain, the kinesiology is lifting, stretching, opening up the skin tissues, and actually creating space so that there's less pressure on the pain receptors. So that experience is going to be kind of an immediate sense of less pain, while at the same time, kind of a nice, snug fit, like a targeted fit in and around your knee or in and around your elbow. So you feel more support, you feel more confidence. So pain, dealing with pain, recovery from injury, that's one dimension where the product is very superior to just compression alone or kinesiology tape by itself. I would say more common use case that we love is around performance and around injury prevention. And this is where perhaps the calf sleeve really shines, and some of our professional athletes are leveraging the sleeves, where they may train in the sleeves to reduce tightness in their Achilles or in their calf. But the most common use case is I'm done with my training, I've really pummeled my body, I've built up fatigue, I shower, and now I pull on the sleeves. And again, that opening up of the skin tissues, what that's doing for recovery is flushing blood into the area and helping with lymphatic drainage. So when you're done with a great workout, this is going to help you recover faster and more complete so that the next day you're back to base and you can hit it hard. So it depends on the use case with the athlete. Some people may train or do workouts in it if they feel like they want to reduce the fatigue load or if they need that support. But the baseline use case is recover in them and reduce your susceptibility to injury.
Wow, that's a lot of benefits right there, and it works wonders right there. I was checking out some of the products on the website. You mentioned about the product Go Sleeves and one of the benefits that it does when you mentioned about having a very great workout and an intense workout. One of the things that it does, you mentioned about draining the lymphatic system. Can you explain to the listeners what the lymphatic system is and what are the functions of it?
You know, I would keep it simple and just say that the body, when it's in fatigue, when you're putting the body under duress, right, and you're training your musculoskeletal system, the lymphatic system is there to help you deal with that lactic acid buildup. You're pushing the muscles, ligaments, and tendons into fatigue, and the lymphatic system is what's offsetting that. It's helping the body recover. So the combination of opening up the capillaries, getting extra blood flow into the area, with increasing the body's ability to drain lactic acid, that's just a way to improve what the body does naturally. So I think the way to think about our mechanism and the mechanism of kinesiology in general when it comes to performance or when it comes to managing fatigue is that your body's already good at this. Kinesiologist helps it do it more effectively and faster.
Okay, great. And I want to stay with the study of kinesiology. What are the differences between kinesiology and physical therapy?
You know, I wouldn't exactly say it in that way, in that physical therapy is a set of practices that are used to help someone either recover from injury or prevent injury, and the science of kinesiology is a lot of what is like the foundation of physical therapy. So you could think about kinesiology as being, you know, the chassis or the infrastructure of a car, and then you've got like a performance coach, let's say, helping you figure out how to best leverage or drive that car. Well, kinesiology is that chassis, and a physical therapist or physical therapy is the application of kinesiology. Maybe I can give you another example of that is when you go and see a physical therapist and you might be doing something, let's say, like muscle relaxation therapy, MRT. A lot of times what you feel them doing is finding pressure points, and they're trying to activate and trigger parts of your body, muscles, ligaments, and tendons by applying pressure. It's called, that is actually an application of kinesiology called proprioception. And there's different studies around kinesiology tape and the use of it for proprioception, and I would say that they are, being fair, somewhat unclear in terms of the whether there's defensible benefits or not. But it's possible that the application of kinesiology tape is actually allowing our brain to respond differently to areas of pain or stress. So all of our skin, all of our tissues, they have sensory receptors. They feel pain, they feel temperature, they feel touch. And it's possible that by taping and activating the sensory receptors in our skin, it changes the signals going to the brain, and that forces the brain to respond differently and maybe put more attention into the area. And that is why there's a belief that proprioception and kinesiology tape is actually helping the body take care of and both recover from injuries but also prevent them. But I want to be clear, like, there's still more work to be done, studies, proof, validation in this area of proprioception.
Okay, and you mentioned when we talked about, I asked you about the benefits of Go Sleeves, and you mentioned some of them such as achieving pain management and also recuperating blood and lymphatic flow to the muscles, ligaments, and tendons in the body, as well as achieving injury prevention, as well as speeding up recovery in the body. I wanted to ask you, have you and Roy received any expertise from the medical field on this product?
We have advisors that are involved in our company from the medical field. So some folks that are actually directly involved in the development and the testing. We also have quite a number of physiologists, athletic trainers, physical trainers that have experimented with Go Sleeves themselves independently, and they've adapted them into their practices with athletes. One of our athletes actually, and one of the participants in our business, for example, has a master's in kinesiology, and also has his own endurance athlete coaching practice. And so what we try to do is to blend a mixture of people who have not just the sort of scientific and medical background, but also are in the space of applying it, right? Applying it to performance. I call it performance science. And so we're still adding on to that team literally every day. And one of the more critical things I would say that we're looking forward to is later this year getting some clinical studies and some trials done regarding performance and fatigue. So I think what we would have at that point is the ability to combine what we're seeing through our network and our community of athletes, coaches, trainers, that anecdotal evidence and the performance benefit they're seeing with actual data that says this is really helping with performance, helping manage fatigue.
Fitness has become a lifestyle that everybody has embraced, and it's just continuing to take on a life of its own, and it's done that for quite some time. But your product, along with so many other products, have flooded the market, specifically in compression sleeves, and saying that it reduces fatigue and increases recovery time. What separates your product from others in the market?
Yeah, it's a really, really good point, and you're exactly right. There is a mosh pit of compression sleeve options out there, and I would say it's challenging for a consumer to be able to differentiate amongst them, and that's fair. In our case, specifically, we don't call our product a compression sleeve for the reason that we are about kinesiology. And believe it or not, like the function of kinesiology, the actual dynamic of it is the opposite of compression. So if you think about a compression sleeve, and perhaps if you've used one, a lot of times you're trying to maximize that compression, maximize that support, so you can feel support, you can feel confidence. And in our case, we're actually trying to do the opposite. We just want a nice, snug fit, because in our case, the real benefits are less about compression and more about the kinesiology strips that are in the sleeve. So compression is just a mechanism to put the kinesiology strips on the skin, and then what you're receiving is the opposite. You're actually experiencing this lifting and creating space, this tension in the skin tissues, opening up. So it's actually like an opposite mechanism of compression. It's opening space up. That's kinesiology, and that's what really unlocks the kinesiology benefits. And there really is no other sleeve on the market that does that. We have patent pending technology for applying kinesiology into the sleeve. So that's truly unique and what sets us apart. And it is the reason that we have a large number of professional athletes who don't put sleeves on their body prior to Go Sleeves, but are leveraging Go Sleeves today.
You mentioned about athletes. Have any high-profile athletes or anyone from any major sports organizations, have they tried the product?
So, yeah, the first early adopter and big supporter of our product was actually the NBA champion and MVP, Rick Barry. We actually met Rick early on in the life of Go Sleeves at a celebration event that the Golden State Warriors were putting on, and we learned from him that he sometimes has some knee and lower leg issues that bother him, and he's a professional pickleball player now. And he's had such success with sleeves that he's He's part of our supporting organization. He's advocating that new players in the sport of pickleball would actually use the calf sleeves as an insurance policy against injury. There's a lot of people moving into pickleball. It's just a crazy rising sport. And what happens is they fall in love with it, they overdo it, they overplay, and their musculoskeletal systems aren't ready for it. And so the sleeves are a great way to insure yourself against injury as your body catches up to your ambition. We also have a lot of professional runners who use and endorse our products. Joe Gray is a Team USA mountain runner, 9-time world champion. He's kind of considered the GOAT of mountain running, and he's a big advocate of using our product both during training and for recovery. Joe's coach, Scott Simmons, he recently did a talk at a run show about his Team USA and Olympian endurance runners are incorporating Go sleeves into their recovery practices. We have a long list of pros: Shannon Aiken, U.S. CrossFit champion; Hillary Allen, a Sky Race endurance runner; Zachary Friedley, a professional adaptive trail runner. There's a big long list, and you can check them out on social. You see, in our Instagram or social channels, you can see tons of great athletes and testimonials happening.
Awesome. Now, Darren, where can they find the product?
Go Sleeves, GoSleeves.com would be the best place to find it. You can also find it on Amazon as well.
Awesome. And then tell everybody where they can find you on social media, as well as your partner, Roy, and any other social media platforms you want to promote, whether it be pertaining to Go Sleeves, any websites. Let the listeners know that as well.
Thank you so much. So definitely just look up in your favorite social channel. You can look up Go Sleeves, and you'll have no problem finding us there. And myself on Instagram is probably the best place to see a lot of what's going on here. So you can see me on Instagram at Darren, DARREN _Lancaster, LANCASTER, or just look us up as Go Sleeves, or you can look up my partner, Roy Carrillo, CARRILLO, also on Instagram.
You heard it from him. He's Darren Lancaster, the CEO and co-founder of Go Sleeves, which is a great product where the sleeves involve compression and also kinesiology, where they help athletes and weekend warriors achieve their dreams of remaining pain-free, such as accelerated recovery, also protecting ligaments, tendons, and muscles. And also, as Darren mentioned throughout the course of the interview, of course, they've had great expertise from many people in the health field, from physiologists to doctors to therapists, making sure that Go Sleeves is top of the line. And check him and his partner, Roy Carrillo, out on the various social media platforms and the website as well at GoKinesiologySleeves.com. Darren, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the program.
I really appreciated it, and I really appreciate that you have a passion for helping your listeners stay active, stay healthy, stay at the top of their game. I think that's something I really applaud you for. There's an interest in sports, and there's doing sports, and hopefully we're all staying active and staying mobile. That's what's the key to health. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the compliment. That's what we try to do here on the program, and thanks again.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.